I want to give all honors and glories and praises to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Wakakodash, Yahweh, which is the one true name of the Heavenly Father, Yahushai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, but his one true name is Yahushai, Bahashim, meaning coming in the name. Ba means coming in, Ha means the, Shah means name, Rakah means spirit, Kodash meaning holy. Peace, blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect, and shalom to you sincere brothers that are scattered abroad, pushing forth this word in truth and sincerity, and shalom to you sincere sisters that are listening in silence, as the scriptures command you to do so. I am the brother Mashiach Razakah, and pretty much this lesson is going to be titled as Chariots of the Lord. Okay, those so-called UFOs, as you call them, are actually IFOs, identified flying objects, known as Chariots of the Lord. And those vehicles are pretty much being reported, those vehicles are pretty much reporting, Salakio, what is taking place on the earth to the Lord. Those are angels that drive those vehicles, which are chariots. Okay, and that's what we're going to go into in this lesson. Because those chariots, which they call them UFOs, right, are actually IFOs, identified flying objects. And the Lord, those are vehicles created by the Lord, okay? And the angels, they drive those vehicles to report to and fro to the Lord, okay? And brothers have seen a lot of chariots lately. We all have seen chariots, and those are vehicles of the Lord, as you can see right here. You see, these are all chariots of the Lord, okay? Those are the Lord's flying vehicles, as you want to call them. So those so-called UFOs are actually vehicles of the Lord, okay? And those are, angels are pretty much driving those vehicles. So that's what we're going to go into in this lesson. And hopefully this is edifying to those of you who are new in this truth. But yeah, those so-called UFOs are chariots of the Lord, okay? And the Lord, Yahushai, he's going to come back on one of the biggest chariots ever seen, okay? And like the scriptures say, every eyes shall see him. So let's get it. The first scripture I'm going to get into is Psalms. This is Psalms 104 and verse 3. Lord willing, this is edifying. Psalms 104 and 3. It says, who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters? The chambers. Okay. That's talking about a chariot. Okay. When you look underneath the chariot, it has its lights, its beams, its chambers. Right. So it's giving you a description of a chariot. Okay. Which they call a so-called UFO. It says, who maketh the cloud his chariot, right? And a cloud is referring to a chariot, right? That's what the scriptures describes it as. So anytime in the Bible you see chariot, flying roll, cloud, white horse, any type of thing like that, that's talking about a so-called UFO, which is a chariot, okay? Which is a vehicle of the Lord. It says, who maketh the clouds his chariot? Who walketh upon the wings of the wind? And see that this is literally giving you a description of a chariot. It's literally letting you know here that this is referring to the chariot. This is representing a chariot, giving you a description of a chariot. Okay, so chariots are in the scriptures. Okay, they are mentioned in scriptures. Those so-called UFOs are actually called chariots, and they're mentioned in the Bible. Okay, this is Psalm 68 and 4. It says, sing unto the Most High, sing praises to his name. It says, exalt. Oh, Salakia, wrong precept. 17, verse 17. That's going into the name of the Lord. Salakia. I was thinking about the name of the Lord. Psalm 68:17. Salakia. It says, the chariots of the Most High are 20,000, even thousands of angels. So there's going to be 20,000, even thousands of angels that's going to be making these returns on these chariots. Okay. But chariots here is that's what it's talking about. The chariots here, the so-called UFOs. But you're going to have angels, they're going to return with Yahweh Shai. It says, chariots of the Most High are 20,000, even thousands of angels. The Lord is among them as in Sinai in the holy place. So you see that. It's giving you a description of the chariots. It's telling you the amount of chariots. You see that? It says the chariots of the Most High are 20,000, even thousands of angels. See, angels drive those vehicles and they report to and fro in the earth to the Lord. Okay, so chariots are mentioned in the scriptures. Okay, chariots are mentioned in the Bible. Okay. And those are chariots of the Lord. All right, those so-called UFOs, as you want to call them. All right, so yeah, chariots are in the Bible. Okay, they are mentioned in the scriptures. And those are vehicles of the Lord. Okay, those are the Lord's vehicles. That's why the scriptures say there's nothing new. roughly paraphrasing. Isaiah 26:20, it says, "Come, my people, enter into thy chambers." Now, when it says enter into thy chambers, it's talking about the chariot. Okay, it has the doors and the bright lights underneath, right? Those are the chambers. You see underneath, those are the chambers. Open the doors of thy chambers. So it's talking about the chariot underneath, right? You see the light that's underneath, right? This is representing the chariot. It is talking about the chariot. Okay, as you see the lights underneath, those are the chambers, right? So that's what it's referring to there. It says, "Come, my people, enter into thy chambers," right? "And shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself as it were for a little moment until the indignation overpass." The elect is going to be beamed up on these chariots, okay? Just giving an example. When the Lord come back, he's going to come back in the biggest chariot, also the angels. And Yahweh Shai, he's going to come back to gather the elect. He's going to beam up the elect of the nation of Israel. The elect of the nation of Israel is going to be beamed up literally on these chariots, okay? Not every single Israelite is going to be saved, but you're going to have the elect, that numerous multitude, right? Revelation 7 and 9, that's going to be delivered. Okay, not every single Israelite going to be saved, and not all people going to be saved, right? Because the Lord, he's also going to deliver Israel, but he's also going to do destruction to America. There's going to be fire shooting from those chariots. See, and those chariots are those known as those so-called UFOs, as you call them. So, yeah, chariots, are the vehicles of the Lord, which is known as UFOs, and those are vehicles of the Lord, man. All right. Got another precept, Isaiah 60 and verse 8. It's Isaiah 60 and 8. And it says, "Who are these that fly as a cloud?" So remember, when you hear cloud, that's talking about a chariot. When you see fly and roll, that's talking about a chariot. White horse, that's giving you a description of a chariot. Its chambers, that's talking about a chariot. Okay, it's always given a description. It always say chariot, chambers, fly and roll, cloud. That's talking about a chariot. It says, "Who are these that fly as a cloud and as the doves of their windows?" You see that? So it's giving you a description of a chariot. It says flying as a cloud. It's talking about a chariot. Okay, it's giving you a description and letting you know that it's referring to a chariot. So this is a chariot here that's mentioning. See, chariots are mentioned in the scriptures, man. We can go all day. You got some people that say, "Oh, that's not in the Bible." It's in the Bible. Whether you believe it or not, chariots are mentioned in the scriptures. And if you don't have that understanding, that's because the Lord is not dealing with you to the spirit to receive this understanding. Everybody's not going to get it, right? Zechariah 5:1. "Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll." And a flying roll is giving you a description of a chariot, a so-called UFO, as you want to call it, but it's known as a chariot. It's the vehicles of the Lord. Okay, the flying roll. It says, "Then I turned and lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll," which is giving you a description of a chariot. Okay, it's a flying roll, right? So it's telling you here that it's a chariot. So there you go, man. It's in the scriptures. Let's get out Acts 1, Acts chapter 1, and we start at verse 9. Because the Messiah, when you read Acts chapter 1 through, I think, verse 11, right? It talks about Yahweh Shai being beamed up, and he was beamed up on the chariot when he rose on the third day after being put, sacrificing his life as that lamb for our transgressions, right? He rose on the third day, right? He was beamed up. Now this is that description here. So before he left, right, and he was beamed up, he spoke to the apostles before he left. He spoke his last words, right? This is Acts 1 and 9. It says, "And when he had spoken these things," see, these were the last words that he gave to the apostles before he was beamed up. It says, "And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up." He was beamed up on a chariot, known as these so-called UFOs. He was beamed up on one. It says he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. What was that cloud? The so-called UFO. He was beamed up on this. And when he comes back, he's going to return in the chariot. The same way he left, he's going to come back. He's going to return that way. He was beamed up on the chariot. He's going to return in the chariot. Verse 10, it says, "And while they looked steadfastly towards heaven," right? They looked up, right? It says, "As he went up, behold, two men stood by them in white apparel." That's talking about those angels there, right? Verse 11, "Which also said, Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? The same Yahweh Shai, which was taken up from you into heaven," right? It says, shall so come in a like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. So pretty much, roughly paraphrasing, in the same way you guys seen him beamed up into the sky, into the chariot, he's going to make his return the same way. So the same way he left, he's going to come back. So the Lord is going to come back in a chariot, right? You know, you got these white tiger chariot, they show him coming down with his hands open, or it shows him literally riding a white horse. No, he's going to come back in a chariot. Okay, he was beamed up in a chariot. He's going to come back in the chariot, the biggest chariot, and every eye shall see him. All right. This is 1 Thessalonians 4:17. Right? And it says, then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds. It says to meet them in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Lord. You see that? For so ever we shall be with the Lord, man. So you see that the elect is, they're gonna be beamed up on these chariots. They're gonna be taken together in those clouds. As I said in verse 17, it says caught up together with them in the clouds. That's talking about the chariot. All right, when the Lord, this is going into the deliverance of the salvation that Israel is going to receive. The elect is going to receive. Okay, that's what is coming for the elect, which we are hoping to be, because they're going to be receiving that salvation. And salvation meaning being saved from harm, delivered from harm, right? So this is a prophecy given about salvation being to the elect of the nation of Israel here. That's what this is talking about. It says, then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds. See that? So the clouds is the chariots, right? It says to meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Lord. See, so the elect, they're going to be beamed up and they're going to be delivered. Okay, we're going to be beamed up and we're going to be delivered, right? Let me get one more precept, wrap it up with this. Revelation 11 and 12. Revelation 11 and verse 12. And it says, and they heard a great voice from heaven, saying unto them, come up hither, as they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. You see that? It ascended up into a cloud. They were ascended up into a chariot. They were beamed up in a chariot. And that's it's in the scriptures, man. And that's what's going to come. So those chariots, all right, those so-called UFOs, as you want to call them, those are chariots of the Lord. Okay, and the Lord, he's going to beam up the elect on these chariots. Okay, the elect is going to be delivered, and this is one of the promises that's going to be given, right? These are the promises: salvation, everlasting kingdom, right? Change. We're going to be in a celestial state, right? We're going to be changed from these corruptible flesh. We're going to go from mortal to immortal, right? So again, the elect is going to be delivered on these chariots, and these chariots are vehicles of the Lord, and these chariots are mentioned in the Bible and prophesied in the Bible. So Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. I want to give all honors and glories and praises to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Wakakodash, and on to the next one. I say Shalom.